Hello, everybody. Welcome to Monarch Family Chiropractic. This is Tuesday night spinal workshop on the engagement spectrum and talking through the process of how we engage in life. And so we will direct, obviously, things as it pertains to our health and how it pertains to the work we're doing in the office and the work you're doing with us. But this is applicable in a lot of areas. And so I think we could probably do a couple-hour seminar on this this whole concept, but we're going to just touch on these different areas of the spectrum that we have up on the screen tonight for you. So there's not a big slide. This isn't content heavy, a lot of slide and detail and notes to be taking on this one. It's more of, I think I want you to retrospect and also just think at who you know, who's in your world, what kind of people you put yourself around, and how we engage in life. So there's a concept as far as the rainbow colors you see there and how there's an increase in resonating light to a cool, sorry, pushing buttons and trying to talk at the same time. That there's higher resonation with different cooling, soothing colors. So as we go into those greens, blues, purples, that's somebody resonating at a higher frequency. Literally, energy changes its frequency, and that is the tone and the color that matches those higher frequencies. So I like using the spectrum for those of us that are visual, which is me. And, you know, so the words and the pictures and the colors are very, I feel like, make this concept easier to understand and to visualize maybe people within this realm and where you're at within this realm. So when we talk about energy in relation to health or pain, it tends to be the lowest serving energy is when someone is in a frantic state or a crisis mode. We're really just trying to handle what's right in front of us. And so when someone lives their life in that place, it becomes somewhat of a self-serving place. It's really hard to be in that mode and take care of others. And so I think it's good to just be aware of someone in that red category, maybe someone who has had a tragedy or in a frantic level of energy, you know, whether it's trying to handle that, trying to find a solution to that. The engagement of that is short term. So it isn't something that can be sustained and withstained for a long period of time, but it's about responding to a crisis. So we may come in and out of all these different colors at different times of our life or during different phases of things going on for us. And this is meant to be the short term. Hopefully what you'll pick up if you've been on previous workshops, especially the ones in the last few months, when we've talked a lot about polyvagal theory and our nervous system in that sense of the calming part of our nervous system and the supportive, a safe side of our nervous system, right? And energetically, how that correlates here versus when we're in that sympathetic fight or flight. So that sympathetic is going to be more of that red zone, red into orange, where it might be going through a process where you're almost like a 911 type of a situation, right? It's engagement, it's short term, it's responding to a crisis. It maybe the crisis intervention is getting out of pain for someone coming into the office, say, and showing up in our, you know, space and asking for support there. Gosh, there's so many different examples I could give there, but it's a process of where you are in that hopefully short-term period. Some people live in that for longer, and it takes them into sometimes where we would call that non-responsive awareness category, where we know there's something going on, we're aware of it, but there's not necessarily we're non-responsive to it, like maybe don't have a tool or a method to get ourselves to that next place, or that out of that situation into the next category. So some of that freeze response that happens is when it's like we're aware of something there, but not really sure how to handle it or what to do with it. Or maybe don't either have the tools or have had the support around you. It is also when you kind of transition into this yellow that you're getting educated. There's awareness, but now there's some education behind it of tools to use, things to do. So, for example, in patient care, this might be where and why we talk about education being the most important thing, and that these spinal workshops are set for that, is because when we understand more of what's going on, we know and have other tools to do more. Thank you, I've got it. I just looked down and saw it. Thanks. So you get into that, there's a state where mechanistically, meaning we're still really looking and seeking for tools and what's going to help. So in a sense, still outwardly looking, but understanding that there is a change, and that when we get more educated and we feel that difference and we notice that difference and start to feel better, it's that kind of understanding that there's more, and that there should be more that we could be doing or could be seeking out, asking for. And so then that leads into having more of an educated coming from a more educated place to desire more for yourself, right? So still getting more education, but realizing, if you will, maybe the what and the why behind why something is the way it is, where the body's at, where you're at in your own, could be mental state of things, in an emotional state, in a physical state, and all those different components that make up the whole of us. So the green is really where we hope to start seeing people transform and transition into on the spectrum, where they've had enough information and mechanistic support, if you will, that they're getting information, but then they're noticing personal change, and starting to want to spread that or engage more in that. Should do more than just something that's pain relief. So in our care, this can be, or in our office, there's times when this can be kind of that window of someone in a pivotal moment of continuing care or stopping care. Because I feel like that is where you're understanding what and why, and a little bit more about your body, about what's going on with your nervous system, what's going on around you, how other things may affect that, the people around you may affect that, the other components that affect our health, right? So not just physically how we feel, but the emotional component of that, how that ties into our nervous system. Some of that, the polyvagal conversations we've had, which have to do with how well we're tapping into the other aspects of our nervous system and our social system, and the people around us that support that. And sometimes that's when the realization is the people around us aren't the ones that are supportive of what we're doing or of that, right? So sometimes this is that kind of picking at the why, if you will, or the fork in the road, and wanting to say, okay, I've got more understanding. I realize a little bit more of the what and the why I'm doing what I'm doing. And that I should and want to do this more, to not just be out of pain, but to be, a better version of ourselves.
No, to be out of pain.
Well, and that's where people start, right? And you've got to start somewhere. So that is absolutely, most people would be silly to say that they don't want to be, right? That'd be not realistic. And that's still just coming from a different place on the spectrum. But the goal, of course, for most people would be, of course, I would like to be out of pain, right? I'd like to feel better, move better. And then once you're doing that, realizing that there's more, right?
Yep.
There's more. Mm-hmm. I have some notes about understanding the nerve chart, and I don't have a nerve chart here with this slide, but it's the poster that's in almost every room in this office. That's blue, and it has the spine, and it has all the nerves. from, C1 down to S1 at the tailbone. And it has the chart that's, what your nervous system is doing at those segments, right? What it's running. And then the other column is the effects you might feel. One that looks like this, everybody, which may not come into view when I'm on the, let's see. Oh, there it goes for a second. Okay, maybe you can't really see. I don't know why it's blurry.
We have the background to blur,
Oh,
and I think it's just not right.
yeah. Okay, yeah. Even though it's clear when it's my face, it's not when it's the picture. Okay, so the effects of subluxation and that nervous system, we call it the fuse box chart. But it's talking through those causes and effects, right? So it's that area of understanding when you're going from that mechanistic kind of somewhat educated place to a desire for more. That's usually when we get to 2, 3, 4 re-exams in, right? And a patient's been under care for months now, and they're starting to go, okay, I'm less in pain, right? Like you are, Kathy, and into that, okay, let's talk about other things. Oh, I'm doing other things. Oh, I want to be more active here. I want to engage more here. And so that education tends to be a much easier place to come from when the pain is less, right? You could focus on something more and something in a more a direction outside of just getting out of pain. But it's really understanding where the nervous system's controlling different things in our body and where it's tapping into areas that may have been problems that we didn't even know were problems. So I think from the perspective of what we do and how we support you, it's going back to that chart and saying, okay, now let's look at those columns and those areas of the nervous system. And is there anything in that far right column that a lot of times come up that people were like, oh, well, I had this going on, or I have this going on, or I had this symptom, and I had no idea that chiropractic would support that, that was even something you would care to know. Things that I'm thinking of that are in some of those boxes might be like anything from acid reflux or GERD, something like that. Or something down in a lower column would be, challenges with, say, speech, or something that has to do with organ systems, but maybe in a way that, because they're thinking we just deal with pain, they don't even mention they get indigestion, heartburn, ulcers, anything along those lines, right? In the bottom of the nervous system, as we get into like the low back and the tailbone area, a lot of things that come up over time, more frequent than you may think, would be, behavior issues, parents talking about kids bedwetting later in years, like, when they're 6, 7, 8, like, well after a potty training age, right? And changes things in like infertility, or a change in, for women, maybe your cycle, or it may be a component that has more to do with the nervous system from, like, in a sense, the organs from the outside, like the skin. So it might be like, oh, I didn't really think to mention I get eczema, or I have these certain, I have these certain rashes, or just different things like that, that may seem really minor to someone, but that is all about how the body is functioning. And so taking it to that next level, when we're out of that pain state and we're into that more of a, I want to educate and know more state, we're starting to look at the big picture of our health. And I think that those things then allow us to do more for ourselves. And I think it tends to be when we have people say, oh, well, my spouse experiences this, or my kiddos experience this, or my grandkids always have blah, blah, blah. Does that have something to do with their nervous system and how their body's functioning?
That's what we're doing.
Thank you. I saw that and thought, oh, there's something new. So with that, we're going into then that higher state of really transformation. And that is kind of outside the box, being educated enough to feel like you can help transform someone else's health viewpoint, right? And where they are in their health. Or when something's not quite right, that there's something extra to be added, that the body or the nervous system or wherever you're at in that processing of higher health is ready for something new. And to add something extra, or it can take on something new. So when you're in a lower state of engagement, the nervous system can only handle so much. And so it is really challenging to add in things to an overloaded system. And that will make more sense if you've not watched any of the polyvagal workshops, to kind of go through that to understand, in a sense, in a bigger way, what I mean there. But it is, when we're not able to help get to that place ourselves or be in that transformational state ourselves, it's really hard to help others. And it's really hard to be able to add something extra, right? A lot of times when you're in that, definitely in the red and orange, but even in that yellow, it can be, well, I can only do what I can do. It feels limited. It is limited. And it feels like anything extra might just be too much, right? And there is a place where some frequency for people, when they're in those different parts of the spectrum, we have to go slower. We have to do less, not more. The nervous system needs less, not more intensity at one time. So all these different things show up in how you present and where you're at starting in your health here. But I think it definitely plays out in different aspects of our life. Right. And maybe why some things feel challenging, there's a reason. We're in a different state of engagement and what our bodies can tolerate. And that's okay to listen to that too. We've got to get through those stages to be able to get to these higher ones. It's kind of like in talking through that polyvagal work. You have to do the work. You can't really jump around to get to that blissful state when we want the nervous system humming in both the sympathetic and the parasympathetic, right? In a very even way, in a very variable way, that takes practice and time and energy and a lot of work getting there, and is very, doable for everyone to get there with the right tools. So again, sometimes trying to jump into some of these other stages of things, and somebody that's very, one side of the brain that's in that very educated state of just give me more information and that will make me better, isn't really how health works. And so there's a component of why we do these educational, workshops, is so that you get that information, in a sense, trickled topics and things over time, because your body and your nervous system have to start experiencing different things to be able to come out of some of that non-responsive into responsive, into ability to transform. So indigo, kind of being that higher level or highest level, is being more at a state of being inspired or inspiring others. So viewed as, kind of that highest level of connection and the highest level of energetic state. This is somebody and someone, and being in a place where you are possibly noticing more about others than you are yourself. So it becomes very selfless and more about service and serving others, and noticing more about what's happening with others than ourselves, right? We're able to kind of step out of our own way, if you will, and support others in what they want to do. It's a good place it's the best place to be, in connection, in community, in connection in your tribe, if you will. That's a place where, hopefully we are with our loved ones and have that connection. Why we do so much around the office in that sense of community, and inviting people to do these workshops when you don't even have to be a patient in our office to do these workshops, is for that exact reason, is to build that connection in our community, and being able to let people know that if someone has set you or sent you this link or has said, connect with us, it is truly from a place of love, and a place that hopefully people have that place of going where they feel connected to
a bigger purpose, and that it isn't just about getting out of pain, although we realize that that's why people come here, initially, especially. And of course, that's a goal. But that you feel that there's a place of community to be in a place of vulnerability and be able to express where you're at, and knowing that most of us in here have experienced all of these stages and sometimes come into other stages as life changes, and have the ability to give you the tools to bounce in and out of these as you go through these different processes of life. So thank you. I did not expect to get emotional talking about the engagement spectrum,
But it's true.
but it is.
Because yeah.
Having some really amazing experiences with
See,
patients lately
Right.
and in the last few weeks, and having some really great stories shared with us is I guess just what's more on my heart right now as I teach this, in that I never remember the quote when I want it, but being a Palmer grad, it's about every, there's quotes all over the school and the walls in literally every space of the buildings. And there's a quote from B.J. Palmer, which is founder of chiropractic, that there is, you never know how far reaching something you might say or do changes the life of someone else and someone at some other point down the road. So it is more about, the actions we take and the things that we share with others and the actions that you are doing for yourself, no matter where you are on the spectrum, that that we are here to support that and support you with achieving whatever that level is for you, because it really isn't about what we, we want the best for you, but what you do here is solely by it being your choice to do it. It is not, and we're here to support you in that component of engaging and transforming at the pace you are ready to. And I think that there's such a high level of judgment in the world, and people feeling what to not feel safe of whether they belong or they could go somewhere and get be able to just be them. That hopefully in covering topics like this that may seem very different than what you think you'd hear at a chiropractic office, gives you the opportunity to see that, it is much bigger than pain. It is much bigger than a symptom, and it always will be. And that if we can help somebody engage in different levels of their life, then we're truly serving the purpose we're here, and not just, saying, well, it's great, try to pain. See you when we see you. Because I'll tell you, I'm having a big birthday this year. And so it's going to be 40, probably then 4 years or so under care since I was a munchkin. And I have been to different offices for over 4 decades. And it's not the same everywhere. And I've had great care, I've had good care, and I've had crappy care. And I've gone in places that I would never walk back into. And when that happens in your own profession, that's something that drives Doc and I to do what we do in here every day. And that is that there isn't one place for everybody. And this may not be the place for everybody either. And for everybody, for some, and that's okay. And there are too many offices or too many places that I've been in many decades that stop at that yellow part of the spectrum. And even those that we graduated with, I mean, it's not like it's a generational thing, that's something from the past. It's very much alive and well now. And that drives us to do what we do every day. Because when people think it's about pain only and stay in that mechanistic, uneducated, unreally responsive place in life and in their world and in their journey, then they're being done a disservice. They're being told information that's all there is, and that's just not. And especially with the last couple of years of what we've come out of, people need to be more supported and more engaged than ever. And watching people fall into a more non-responsive, unaware, disconnected place in life, going through that many months and years with COVID scenarios and sort of just that whole era. I think people dropped into some of these other states and didn't even realize it. And maybe doing other things that they don't even feel that they're in a different place yet. And when they've come in here and we've worked through their exam and done the thoroughness that we do here, it's been interesting to watch people go, I get that I need to be here, even though I'm not in a lot of pain. Just they sense and they know they're in that tipping point, right? They're at that crossroads of something's missing and something's not there, or something's not being fulfilled, and there's more. And the more we educate and share this kind of information with people, that there is things out there and there are people supporting this concept and supporting people connecting as a community and support people being transformed and being more educated in whatever that is. But mostly that it's just that they have that connection within so that they can do more, affect more people, support more people. We become a stronger community when it's not about looking and, ourselves. It's about who we can support around us, right? And so I hope that this maybe give you an idea of where you're at, if there's any components that you recognize are where you are headed or where you want to be. And I would just say, think about your goals and think about the people in your world as we close out this workshop tonight. Whether it's spouse, kiddos, siblings, coworkers, neighbors, roommates, whoever is your in your world and in your circle, or maybe slightly outside your circle, that you want to reach out to. We are in the lead into our Patient Appreciation Week coming up. And so this is a great time if there's somebody that comes to mind and you think that what we do is worth someone finding out where they're at, regardless of the symptom, that our Patient Appreciation Day and week is at the end of the month. So July 31st through August 2nd, 3rd, right? August 3rd. And that week that week is about us giving back and supporting our community, and more directly supporting you and your community. So patients in here who refer someone to get checked, that entire visit with their exam, their consult, if x-rays are necessary, it is all done at our expense. So a few times a year, this is when we really want to just love on our community and love on your community and the people you care about, and invite them in, no strings attached, to our home and our place of community, and be able to come and experience what we do and see if there's anything we can do to support them. So if there's someone that you're thinking of, or someone that you would like to experience that and experience what we do, they can certainly come in sooner. But during that week of the 31st to the 3rd, we have a board up at the office with times that are available that Monday through Thursday. There are about 9 or 10 slots left of appointment slots and times. So it's first come, first serve. When they're gone, they're gone. So we would love to serve anyone that you think would like to be I guess, engaging at a higher level or learning more about how they can and where they're at. So have them call in, let them tell us who who they know and who we know, and we will set them up at the time and be excited to meet them and see how we can support them in any way possible. So thank you for joining us this evening. And we look forward to, and I appreciate those that on the fly jumped into this topic that was going to be at the end of the month that was this week instead. So we will be doing the pregnancy and chiropractic workshop at the end of the month on the 25th. On the 25th. Yep. So this one got flopped with the one at the end of the month. So we will do that one in 2 weeks. And next week, chiropractic FAQs. So join us for that. That one's always fun and engaging. And we love to hear the different things that people think and thought maybe chiropractic was versus what it is. So thanks for joining us, everybody, tonight. And we look forward to seeing you in the office with your takeaway. Love to hear where you feel like you are in the spectrum, or anybody you're thinking of that you'd like to support in their place on the spectrum. Oh, I hit the wrong
There
button.
she is.
I hit the wrong button. Sorry, guys. I meant to hit stop recording.